Hi everyone, it's Harry from ActionCOACH Business Coaching, country partner for Southern Africa, and really honored to be introducing another one of our great coaches to you. One that comes with a little bit of an interesting background and not quite the same accent to what you're used to hearing. But Jeff, really a privilege to have you join us today as we get to know you and your journey a little bit more as an action coach.
Oh, great. Thank you, Harry. It's good to be here. Not usually the most about talking about myself, but we'll answer the questions and get through it.
Well, good. So as everybody will hear, a bit of an American accent, but living in Cape Town in South Africa. So you've actually got an interesting story how you got to South Africa in the first place. So what brought you here originally?
Well, originally came down playing rugby of all things. And I know that kind of lights everybody's eyes up in South Africa. Yes, I'm American and I do play rugby. But yeah, many years ago, I'm not going to date myself, came down on a rugby tour. I'd been kind of traveling around the world playing rugby around north and south, and came down on tour, really enjoyed it, traveled around the whole country, got to see kind of the four corners of South Africa, really enjoyed it. I left at the end of the season. After the tour, I stayed on and played for a club in Durban, the Crusaders, then went back up to the UK to play another season up there. But had such a great time in South Africa that I wanted to come down, and obviously the rugby was very competitive, and especially coming from the States where it's very small and amateur. I wanted to come back and have another go at it, and came down and met my future wife, and the rugby brought me here. My wife kept me here, so there you go.
Amazing how that always happens. Good South African woman, and Debbie's definitely one of them. But you then had quite a broad corporate career, a lot of FMCG businesses, a lot of travel around Africa. And despite the fact that you still got family in America, you chose to stay here, and you still stay as a committed South African American in the market. So when other people are wanting to leave, why do you stay?
Yeah, it's funny. I do refer to myself as an American African. The roots are here. I love the place, the people, the climate, and everything in between. I was very fortunate to have various roles within the corporate world and in the consulting world. And one of the things that, I really enjoyed about my rugby career was going to countries and playing the sport that I loved. And there are places I never would have gone to if I didn't have the sport. And the same thing holds true in my career based out of South Africa, going to see lots of parts of Africa, living and working there. Part of my being is I just love going to new cultures, new places, to learn, to see where the commonalities are, just experience different things. But again, there's so many similarities. It's been very fruitful in that regard. And it's something I want to continue doing till the day I have to stop is to just go and travel and meet new people and have new experiences. But so from the corporate career, I was fortunate enough to kind of climb the ladder and a few sideways steps on the way up as well. But it's also good because I got into different departments, and it really gave me a well-rounded kind of look and view, and got me vital experience, I think, and some knowledge that I'm using today. So very, very fortunate.
Absolutely. And I think a varied corporate journey like that is almost designed for coaching one day, because you have that broad-based experience. But what made you do that transition to say, well, okay, I've had my stint in the corporate world. What attracted you to becoming a business coach?
Well, quite a few things, Harry. Started out when I was still in the corporate world. I'd say probably the last third of my career was I transitioned into more of a capability development role through the various companies I worked for. So, I started at the bottom and worked my way up, and then got into the management position and worked my way up to those higher levels. And at the time, the company, it was a global company, was wanting to roll out some great standards and processes and systems throughout their whole organization. And so they asked me to take it on because, one of the strengths I had when I was a manager was developing individuals and teams. And they said, Jeff, I think this would suit you. I, again, had the opportunity I was going to be able to travel and move out of where my role was. So that all excited me. And so I embarked on that coaching journey back then and started doing it. So I was a lot of training and teaching, but also coaching because anybody, business owner or in the corporate world, when you're managing people, it's not about doing the work yourself. It's about getting them to do the work. So that's kind of where I got my taste for it. I'd probably say if I take a step back, Harry, it might be in my blood because my whole father's family is in education, from teachers to principals or headmasters, as you call them down here, and administration and things and all my uncles, their children are into education as well. And, leaving school, it was one thing I said I'm never going to do. And here we go, come full circle. So, yeah. So I had this aptitude for it. I had a hunger for it as well. I was told I was good and passion for it was there. So when it was my last role up in Tanzania, I was on a contract base, but I was thinking it was to go up there and build a team and work myself out of a job, which I've done a couple times. So when I moved back to Cape Town, I transitioned through, I had a look and said, what do you have passion for? What do you feel you're good at? Where's your expertise and what can you do? And, I just really enjoyed my time in the corporate world doing that coaching. I said, well, here's an ideal thing. Also helped that one of the people I call a close friend, and he was a mentor for me and a colleague, joined ActionCOACH within the UK. And he said, Jeff, this is where your skill set is. Give it a look. And so did the usual Google search and came upon the name of Harry Welby-Cooke and moved on from there.
And the rest, as they say, is history. But amazing how you say it might be in your DNA and you've come full circle. But you started by sharing, your passion for Africa and traveling and meeting new people and stuff like that. And you actually used a very interesting phrase just now, pay it forward. So what is it that you get to do when you're working with businesses in paying it forward?
Lots of things, and probably don't have the time or memory to say them all right here. But I think, one of the things that really make me tick is to constantly kind of self-develop myself and learn how I can be a better person, man, husband, father, and all that stuff. And then apply that to other people. And really where I get my biggest kick, I've told you this before, Harry, is when I see other people succeeding. Then that makes me feel really good. Obviously, getting paid to do it is even better. But it just really pushes all the right buttons for me to see somebody that is struggling and has the strength to reach out and say, listen, I would like some help, because I've had my own issues with that in the past, and you're not looking for help. And I think, if we drop the ego a bit like that and allow people to help after making decisions to help ourselves to move forward. But it's really, it's like a nice wheel that keeps me going. I like to help myself, and I use that, what I've learned to help others, and then they help me in return and keep me going.
Mm. And you've spoken a little bit about it with asking for help. And I think, sometimes some of your frustration too, and it's something we face all the time, is a business owner is there, an entrepreneur is there, and they're stuck for whatever reason. And they want something better, but then they sit on the fence and they just don't commit. What's your advice to somebody listening to this going, well, I'm in that phase, I'm stuck. I know there's more, I want more, I believe I can get more, but I'm stuck and I don't know how to take that step. What's your advice to those people to get out of that?
I think lots of things. I mean, I think everybody kind of has a different way. I tend to reflect a bit, try to take a step back and think about things, well, definitely as I've gotten older and more matured, probably wasn't this way 20, 30 years ago, but it's about, okay, this isn't working by not doing anything. What can I do? And I think it's really about then, once you kind of had that discussion within yourself, it's about talking to somebody about that, whoever that is. And I'd suggest, I know it's helped me the most, is somebody that you feel comfortable with, somewhere you feel in a safe environment, because you are probably unleashing a few demons inside, so to speak. But it's really about then, just trying to engage with somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody really close to you. I found, and I think one of the things as coaches we are good at is we're not so close on a personal level, and we can offer that perspective and give, an objective kind of thing. And so I would suggest, engaging somebody with that guy, whether, it's via the internet or something, or just reaching out to somebody. For me, obviously, there's several people throughout my career that I had the ability to bounce ideas off. And yeah, just really then, make the decision to go for it. I guess the biggest thing is, especially in the last several years here in South Africa, is we've gotten into a little bit of paralysis, because we're going to wait and see. The economy's going to get better. COVID's going to go. Corruption's going to stop. Those things are going to continue. Once we get through this few turbulent years, something else is going to, come back at us. So it's really about, just making a decision and then taking action.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move from the one challenge to the next, and the one crisis to the next. So I think your phrasing there of what a coach does, it makes me think of when we talk about being an unreasonable friend. We are there to support and guide you, but we're not gonna, pussyfoot around the issues. We're going to give you both the support and the challenge. And I think you're an interesting individual in that sense, because tall, professional athlete, rugby player, American, big, confident, dare I say loud sometimes, but at the same time, nurturing, care about developing of people and performance, and you bring those two together. So, because coaching is not always just about people that are stuck struggling, it's about at the cutting edge of performance always. So when entrepreneurs are going this journey as a client of an action coach, and particularly working with you, what do you think you really bring to the table? What is your flavor, Jeff's flavor, that a client really can tap into to their benefit when working with you?
I think it goes back to my later education, and then actually just traveling and going to different places of the world. I've been exposed and experienced a great deal of different things. And it just kind of, having all that diversity then, but also gets you to realize that how commonality and how connecting the dots and synergies are out there. And yeah, again, 20, 30 years ago, I was probably a lot more direct and, task oriented and, just get in and, this is my way and we're going but through the travel, getting exposed to different societies, cultures, etc. I've just learned that you have to be a little bit of a chameleon. You have to have several hats because everybody needs a kick on the backside, including myself. And my lovely wife does a really good job of that. Then there's other times where, it's asking the question, it's being the supportive and stuff like that. It's really knowing when to wear the right hat or what tact it takes. And I think a lot of that comes with experience. You start learning, the BS meter, how high it is and how low it is. And, but also you need to know, when empathy needs to come in. So I don't have the formula written down, but a lot of it is just kind of based on my past and what's worked, what hasn't worked, and the learning from what hasn't worked, and knowing kind of when to push buttons and when to pull away from the button, I think is key. I know we've had discussions in the past. Some clients just need to be told what to do, and they appreciate that. But as they themselves grow, then it's about, then you can start pulling back and letting them, make decisions and getting them to come up with the solutions. That's worked for me, and I'm still working on that. But hopefully, it will be a formula for success in the future. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I think it's that wisdom that comes with experience to become a well-rounded individual. And I think that's definitely part of the strength that you bring to the party. You've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and can help you grow as an individual to be more complete. So I know there've been many, but maybe what's one standout example that you've seen as a breakthrough with a client, a business that you were coaching, and there's really a breakthrough that you look back and you go, well, geez, I'm quite proud of what we achieved there with that client.
Two stand out for me. It was an accountant I was working with for a couple, 2.5 years. And he was very much doing it on your own, even though he had a complement of staff that he was paying well for. And just, a very nice man, and would allow people not to pay him and things like that. And, just working with him, just saying, and getting him to realize, I used to ask him, do you provide value for your customers? And he said, yes. And I said, well, why don't you get them to pay that value and get it going? So not only that with his clients, but with his team as well. So, we put the process in place and put in just positional contracts that they didn't have. And these are people that worked for many years, and just having that little bit of formalization going. And then they started becoming a team. And, he had a big client that owed him lots of money. He finally got up the nerve to say, listen, you owe me money and I'm not doing any more work till you pay me. And it was, it was very relevant at the time because it was the start of the downturn of our economy. So he needed money. So that was a good one for me. And just today, actually, as we were talking before we started recording, I just started a new client who's a gas station, petrol station here. Sorry, I had to throw that in. And he wants the help. He needs to have the help. But he hasn't been doing the stuff that we, require him. He hasn't been, doing the home fund. He's letting himself get pulled in different directions because, stuff happens and times are tough. But I was just really straightforward with him and not yelling or anything, but just straightforward. So listen, you're paying me to help you, but I can't help you unless you help yourself. And that means you're doing the work because, we talked about this before we, signed the agreement that I'll be the unreasonable friend when I have to be. And today was like that. And, but again, through kind of experience, I, used the right tonality and way to do it and got it. And we ended up having a session and, he learned out, he realized it's making the time to do the work. So those are two kind of stand out. Yeah, and often typical of many entrepreneurs and businesses out there. You might be listening to this and thinking, I also don't extract the maximum value out of my team. I also don't, I do the work and provide the service or the product, but then I'm apologetic about asking for my own money. And then that's the reality for entrepreneurs because we're the owners of our own business. There is no accountability necessarily. A little bit maybe from, as you said, our spouses are good at that, but that's not always the same. So very valuable, the contribution that you make. So you're a passionate American African. You love South Africa. You're committed to paying it forward. As you said, we've developed a little bit of this wait and see kind of mindset, yet, we know the challenge is going to be here. So what's your advice to entrepreneurs? I've got a business, I'm running my business. What would be your advice to me around what I should do in my business going forward and how we can collectively, pull this thing through, take it forward? Well, first and foremost, engage a coach and hire him. Simple as that. Just because, I often use it when talking to people, seminars. Why would Roger Federer or Phil Mickelson, who just won a huge golf title at the age of 50 plus, why has he got a coach? Well, because he gets results, and so, reaching out to people is first, just, look at it. Are you really happy with the pain, whatever that may be, is financial or work hours or whatnot? No. Well, what are you doing about it? Well, nothing. Well, time to take action and engage somebody. whether, you know, at whatever level, whether it's the one-to-one coaching, whether it's group, or even if it's just, you know, like we got an upcoming growth club coming up, you know, just participating in that and start seeing how things can work. But it is a journey. It's not an overnight success story. No matter how many gurus get on social media and tell you by 50 minutes of listening to them that, you know, like your life is going to be sweet smelling. But it's really, you know, it's getting on that journey and enjoying the journey. I think that's the key thing. You know, one of the great things that we do within Action Coach is, you know, have some fun. And I think that's what it is have fun. And I told my client today that, you know, at the end of it, I said, listen, you know, you're still here, you're still going, and, you know, it's time to smile and know that you're making progress. So yeah, a roundabout way of answering that, but, you know, I think it's just engaging, whatever, mentor, coach, anybody, but take action, just do something, and then learn from it, and then keep moving forward.
Yeah. Brilliant advice. And I think Mikkelson's a good one, because by the time you watch this, you know, we've actually just recorded after his win, and golfers are professional losers. They win very few tournaments a year, yet they're constantly at that cutting edge and working with coaches to do that. And I couldn't put it better. If you're in business, I know, Jeff knows, the whole team knows, you can't do this on your own, and why should you? So do what Jeff suggested when he actually found Action Coach. Go to Google, type in Action Coach Jeff Peter, and make sure that Jeff's your coach. I think Jeff's a really valuable member of the team. You can see the heart and the passion that he has for this business. So in the words of Jeff, just get a coach and do it. Jeff, been a privilege to chat to you today. Hope everybody get to know you a lot better, and that they take action, because if they take action, you know, you will help them make a difference in their lives as well as in their business.
Great. Thank you very much for having me, Harry. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, all the best, and let's move forward.
Good. Thanks very much. Cheers, everyone.